especially before we get into conference play and kind of see where we are and grow up a little bit.
If you're not confident that you're going to be successful, yes, but we understand the opponent, and that comes from respect for them. I mean, you have a great respect for them, but also you have to go compete. You expect, anytime you line up to play, you expect to be successful. But you understand it's a tall task. We need to play well to have that success, and that's what we have to do. We have to practice well, prepare well to be able to do those things.
Does that make them ripe for an upset?
Oh, yes, it does. There will be an upset.
Some of your guys earlier today were making some pretty bold statements about winning the game and all.
Well, who did that?
Okay.
There will be an upset on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
Jared better play well.
All right, so already a little extra fuel added to that fire.
Oh, I love it.
Coach, you would rather that he hadn't have said it.
No, I would rather him be quiet. Let's be real quiet. Let's get on the plane, get in there real quiet. But it's like Coach Fisher said, you better play well then.
Yeah.
You wrote a check. Now you better come ready to play because you're getting ready to get in a real environment. And don't think they hadn't read it, because they have.
He wrote the check. Can he cash that
Exactly.
check? Coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Fisher pulled him aside. Jared, come here. You say that. All right. Okay, cool. Now go back it up.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. For me, it comes down to which defense can stop the other quarterback. You got two really good teams that have talent from top to bottom, but let's be specific and correct on how we categorize Clemson. Clemson has the type of elite talent from top to bottom, okay? From their third string guys are 4- and 5-star guys. They're like Ohio State. They're like Auburn. They're like Georgia. They're loaded like that. Texas A&M is still tooling, is still putting tools in the tool chest.
Yeah.
And defensive coordinator Mike Elko has his work cut out for him with 4 returning starters to that defense. Trevor Lawrence, maybe a few miscues in week 1. He won't have that week 2. He'll get better. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to do too much on his shoulders and trying to lead the team, trying to make too much happen. This is the talented Clemson team. I'm going to go ahead and pick right now. I got Clemson.
Listen, you mentioned Mike Elko and what his Chargers did a year ago. Second in rush defense in the SEC, the best numbers they've posted since they joined the SEC 6-7 years ago. And they need to be that and even more in this ballgame. Last week it was Texas State, where they -8 rushing the ball. They only allowed 7 points, and that was on the backups when they got in there versus the Aggies. So they got to be strong there defensively. Also in that secondary, going up against these receivers, that's going to be a tough task for Texas A&M. But I love what Jimbo Fisher is building here. This is a different football team. This is a different mindset. All you have to do is look to last year, and that'll be all you need to see to know that, hey, this team comes to play, and they're for real, and Clemson will not take them lightly. That being said, Clemson defensively, Brent Venables, Mike Elko, as great as he is, Venables, arguably the best in the business. I know we're about to talk about 2 others when we get to that Texas LSU game who are pretty darn good. But I like Clemson in this ball game. Those guys, those pups that you mentioned, 4- and 5-stars who haven't had a lot of run, had 4 sacks last week. I know that's a new offense for Georgia Tech, but those pups are going to grow into K9s, and it may start this weekend.
It's on you, Coach, for an A&M pick. What do you think?
It can go either way. It could go either way. But I'm going to lean to Clemson as well because of this. It's Travis Etienne. I think he's the difference maker. When you look at the way he plays, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, not on cue. He'll be better this week. But the one thing that's not going away is the physicality of Travis Etienne.
It's a sweep here. Everybody taking #1 Clemson. Tomorrow evening, we get our first top 10 match of the season. Texas welcomes LSU to town as the two teams face off for the first time since the 2003 Cotton Bowl. Coach O's guys crossing to Texas to face Sam Ehlinger and the Longhorns after both teams coasted through week 1. Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdown passes before halftime in LSU's new up-tempo spread attack. The Longhorns have seen plenty of that in the Big 12, but they hadn't seen a season-opening win under Tom Herman until Saturday. Ehlinger was sharp, 4 touchdown passes as Texas tries to take out the Tigers in Austin.
We kind of understand that to get to where we want to go as a program, that we're going to have to play in and win these kind of games, and to do it against another top 10 opponent is pretty cool, especially at home.
It's very important, but there'll be a lot of games down the road that are just as important or more important. So we got to be able to learn how to handle this. You want to be on the big stage at LSU. We are on the big stage, but I'm sure when we get on that plane, we're going to be fired up, ready to go. I'm sure they're going to be fired up, ready to go. Team that takes care of the ball, the team that's most physical, is going to win the football game.
Time now for the dream matchup presented by Sleep Number, and we're taking a look at the quarterback matchup in this one. Both signal callers were excellent in week 1. Joe Burrow threw for a career-high 5 touchdowns while completing more than 85% of his passes. Sam Ehlinger was equally sharp versus Louisiana Tech. 276 yards, 4 touchdown passes. BJ,
Yeah.
Longhorns getting no respect, big underdogs. How do you see
Really?
it playing out? Well,
Who's
fairly.
disrespecting my Longhorns?
Fairly.
Listen, you said if they're back, they needed to win a game like this, and they proved to Georgia they were back, but that was last year. What have you done for me lately? Here's another big moment, and we always have those pro days in the spring. This is a pro day. I mean, this is good on good. You want to get to that next level, play well in a game like this. So it's a great opportunity for Texas to signify to the nation that we actually are back. Forget that Sugar Bowl. We won that handily. Now we're going to beat another SEC foe. I think Texas can eke out a win at home. I love this young defense. They're just as talented as LSU. They just don't have the experience that LSU has. So they're going to have to go out and minimize the mistakes. And Coach Orgeron is right. This is going to be a physical affair. Blocking and tackling, the fundamentals will play a huge part.
Coach?
This is going to be an exciting game. There's no question. I know Texas has a lot of confidence. Sam Ehlinger is really, to me, has gone to another level. But I think LSU is going to squeak out and get this win. I think they'll do enough with Joe Burrow's leadership and the way the defense plays, especially disruptive on the edges. I think that'll be the difference.
Tom Herman is an SEC giant killer. Okay, we know this. We saw Bama walk into that national championship game versus, Ohio State a couple of years ago and just get demolished. Okay, so he knows how to deal with the talent. He knows how to use his talent. Texas has a ton of offensive prowess talent. That isn't what concerns me. What concerns me is who has the deeper commitment to stopping the run, who has the deeper commitment to controlling the line of scrimmage. And for me, that's LSU. For me, LSU, they may have a fandangle-do offense that shows kind of a spread attack. We see Joe Burrow faking the outside zone and then going up top. He's got great reads and everything. But who's going to line up and strap it up and win that battle at the line of scrimmage? LSU is more committed to that, and they're more committed to do it because they know personnel-wise they can match up with this Texas team just fine. But who's going to win the battle in the trenches? For me, it's LSU.
All right, so you're siding with Coach on that. Brian, the only.
And that was the college football. That was the semifinals where Ohio State beat Alabama and then went on to beat Oregon in the championship game, right?
Hey, we're back. Houston spent 14 seasons between Arkansas and Ole Miss, leading his teams to 9 bowl games, 3 Cotton Bowl victories, as well as being named SEC Coach of the Year. Not once.
They're going to beat him up with the bucket, man.
3 times.
Go.
Signature wins.
Was that
07
Mike
upset.
Wallace?
Mike Wallace, he wasn't used to it.
07 upset of number 1 LSU. And in 08, they beat defending champ Florida, where Coach got that Gatorade bucket, which, again, left a little bit to be desired. But I suppose you didn't mind after that win.
No, it's good.
So, anyway, Coach, Arkansas, Ole Miss, going to square off this week.
This is a big one because the loser of this game, it doesn't look good. So this is big for both teams. And even though Arkansas won, they didn't feel good about the Portland State win. So here they go to Oxford. And Mississippi coming off a loss versus Memphis. I think Arkansas wins in a very close game.
Not high scoring at all.
No.
First 1 to 15.
Something like 15 to 20.
Kevin, how about you?
Both teams leave something to be desired when it talks about points that are scored. These offenses, I'm waiting for Arkansas, who's supposed to have, a different offensive system, is supposed to be different. They can't score points. Neither of these teams can really score points. But when looking at defense, I think Ole Miss has a little bit more in the arsenal. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss just for that reason. I think defensively they can play a little better and bring a little more to the table. Not a lot of faith in what Arkansas is doing right now.
Yeah, I picked Arkansas in an upset, but I may have to change that because they've given Ole Miss a little bulletin board material. You got a true freshman wide receiver getting his second start, and he's talking noise about the best part of that defense at Ole Miss, which played much better last week, saying that they're good, but we're going to dominate them. Dude, you've only started 1 game. This is going to be your second start. Why don't you be quiet? Go catch a touchdown pass. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I'm going to say Ole Miss wins this ball game. I was impressed with their defense. Mike McIntyre, new defensive coordinator, did a good job.
All right, there you go. Tennessee, meanwhile, with the loss heard around the SEC last week against Georgia State. BJ, can they bounce back against a BYU team this week that left a lot to be desired in that Utah game?
No. Zach Wilson is an underrated quarterback there for BYU. This kid is pretty good. This is going to be a physical affair. And Georgia State, the Panthers, they were physical last week versus Tennessee, and I think Tennessee takes another one on the chin.
All right, so we're going to pop that up after the video. All right, so you're going Tennessee, BJ. How about you, Kevin?
I think Tennessee.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said they're going to take one on the chin. You're going BYU. How about you?
I'm going to say BYU as well, just because I think Tennessee has a lot of fundamental basic problems. I think when you can't line up and play a basic call and play basic defense or sum up or shore up what you're doing in the run game or protection of the quarterback, I mean, these are simple things. You're not asking them to do a whole lot. Your game plan isn't extensive in week one. And to be able to execute that against a seemingly lesser opponent, I didn't see it then. Don't think we'll see it this weekend against a very physical BYU team.
Grown men.
I want to say Tennessee's going to come back with improvement, and they're going to get physical. They're going to get the offensive line right, get the defensive line right, and the quarterback, get everything situated and improved, get things cleaned up. But
that's a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. Man, that's why I can't go with them.
You're not doing it.
You want to have just a few things to work on after week one. Not a whole lot, Coach.
Right.
All right, Kelly Bryant had some moments of brilliance last week. Pretty good stats, but 2 turnovers helped Wyoming pull the upset here on CBS Sports Network. How did the Tigers bounce back against West Virginia, Kevin?
They have to do a better job at the quarterback position managing the game. And I think that's what's going to be their downfall. I think Kelly Bryant has a lot to prove. I think he's really trying to lead this Missouri team and trying to show that, hey, it wasn't a fluke. I am a great player. I'm that guy. I'm going to resurrect this team. But you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
You have to play within the balance of your team. And I think that's kind of a learning curve as the season goes on. That's why in this one I got West Virginia.
I think we saw why he lost the job at Clemson. While he posted some big numbers, but there were times where he didn't look like a pocket passer and someone who could survey the field. That being said, I think Missouri rounds into shape. West Virginia was just blah last week versus the Dukes of James Madison, and that defense can play better there at Missouri. So I'm going with the Tigers.
I'm also going with the Tigers. I think Coach Odom will get them right. I think they'll come back, and I think Kelly Bryant, if he'll just take care of the ball, don't try to be Superman. Just do your thing. I think they'll have enough to win.
Quickly, welcome to Friday Night Lights. 30 minutes of inside college football leading up to Wake Forest and Rice, 8 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Brent Stover, Houston Nutt, Kevin Carter, Brian Jones as well. And let's get right to it, the latest news of the day. Stanford quarterback KJ Costello won't play Saturday against USC, as announced by David Shaw. The senior signal caller was injured last week right before halftime of a 10-point win over Northwestern after taking a forearm to the head. Redshirt sophomore Davis Mills will start in his place. Costello was going into the sliding motion against the Wildcats when he got hit up high, but there was no targeting call on the play, something that obviously upset Coach Shaw and others involved or not involved with the Cardinal program. JT Daniels, by the way, also out for USC. His season done torn ACL, so Keaton Slovis moves up to number 1 there. But if you're Stanford, obviously this is difficult to take with a tough matchup in week.
Yeah, you were looking for KJ Costello to pick up where he left off last year. His touchdowns 29, just below the record that Andrew Luck, the now retired Andrew Luck, set when he was a Cardinal. But that was clearly a targeting foul there. I can't believe they didn't go back and review that. A couple weeks ago, NCAA sends out an instructional video showing all the indicators, and clearly the indicators were met right there. So that was just a huge screw-up by the officiating crew, everyone involved there with that situation.
I'm with you. Exactly there with you. I don't know how they missed this call, but this is going to be a tremendous challenge for the Stanford team without their quarterback going into this matchup against USC. USC has got a new signal caller as well, second-year quarterback. It's going to be a battle of young quarterbacks in this one, but Stanford defense is going to have to step up. But losing your quarterback, KJ Costello, after you've lost receivers in this offense, there's been a lot of attrition in offensive talent over the last season. This is going to be a tough matchup, especially you don't get it called. You don't have anything retroactively done for this. This is why we're supposed to make the game safer. This is how we're going to make the game safer. Just a bad no call on their part.
You're exactly right, and that's where Stanford's defense now has to come to the party. Every single game, starting this week, they got to go win this football game and the running game. Get the running game going. That will help that quarterback who's been sitting back there watching KJ Costello, and all of a sudden, coach says, you're in.
6 LSU and number 9 Texas. Coach O's guys face Sam Ehlinger and the Longhorns after both teams coasted through week 1. Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdown passes before halftime, tying a school record as LSU unveiled its new up-tempo spread attack. The Longhorns have seen plenty of that in the Big 12, but they hadn't seen a season-opening win under Tom Herman until last Saturday, as many Longhorns got their first career starts. A different team that beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl tries to take out the Tigers in Austin. There is a lot to love about it. And just to add a little spice to this one, LSU, widely considered DBU, But all of a sudden, Texas comes out this week. There's only one DBU to suggest that one DBU.
Well, we did a little digging, and it turns out that LSU has an edge as far as DBs transitioning to the NFL by about 6. That's it. So it's close. So can both of them be DBU?
Not according
Can
to
we
Texas.
say O-line U? It ain't even close. It's Texas. We're the O-line, but they should have O-line U out there.
There you
But
go.
Texas has had a little drought in that department also, here lately.
Kevin?
You better be more than just DBU. You're going to go up and line up against LSU and beat them up front. To me, the real game is in the trenches. Who's going to control the line of scrimmage in this one? Who's going to stop the other one from running the football and making the job of the quarterback easy? We know that Sam Ehlinger is going to come with the kitchen sink in Tom Herman's offense. We know he's going to throw all kinds of things out there. But can they play defense against this vaunted LSU running attack, which we haven't seen the best of yet?
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait. Joe Burrow on the other side, guys, was 23 for 27. I love the way he is executing, distributing the football. But Tom Herman's been in this situation.
Yeah.
He
ain't scared.
He's looking forward to this.
12 and 6 versus ranked opponents Tom Herman. And the Texas running game has to not just be in attendance, it has to play a major factor in this ballgame.
Is Texas officially back? This would go a long
Yeah, they
way.
proved that to Georgia last year, didn't they?
That's last year. They got to go
This
this
would
year.
hammer the point home. We call it 5 on the line.
Get on
Come on, get on the line, BJ. Come on.
Let me see.
5
He's
questions,
flexible, boy.
60 seconds
man.
per question. Let's start the clock. Not bad. Who needs a win more this week, Jeremy Pruitt or Willie Taggart?
That dehydrated head coach, Willie Taggart.
You keep dropping him in the grease.
They're going to drop him somewhere else and keep losing. Listen, Jeremy Pruitt got a signature win a year ago at Auburn. No, they still didn't have a stellar season, but he got that big win. And his AD is not going anywhere. It's his second year at the helm. Willie Taggart, come on, baby. You got to do better than that, and excuses have to stop.
You got a 3-year litmus test if you're a head coach of a program. Obviously, Pruitt's still in that grace period of, forgiveness. Willie Taggart, he's got to win now.
He's in the window, but it's a little bit of a difference.
He's in the window, but it's a little different.
Both schools. This is not how you want to start. No question about it. But I'm with y'all. Coach Taggart's got to get it going. Yep. No excuses after the game. Let's go.
How you gonna be from Florida and not know to hydrate?
Right.
Come on.
Hey, at least he was being honest.
It's humid.
He's being honest.
Some things should be,
You got 2 more seconds, BJ.
not say it.
All right.
Not divulge.
A year ago, Army went into Norman, almost upset the Sooners, lost in OT. Give me, Coach, the % chance they have of walking into the big house and upsetting Michigan.
33%.
Really?
That's going to be tough.
That's pretty good.
Well, I'm going by what Rice did last week.
Yeah.
Now, I got a lot of respect for Army, guys. They've done a great job. Coach Monken's done a great job. They know how to keep the ball, but they're going to get a lot better. And I think Michigan's been working on them for about 3 months.
Kevin?
Shea Patterson has not looked impressive enough to me under Harbaugh's offense. I don't know if it's Harbaugh or if it's the offensive system or how they stretch the field or a lack thereof stretching the field. I'm going to go with Army. I'm saying that there's a 47% chance that they go in and upset them. I'm
I'm
below
not
50.
going with Army.
I'm below
51%.
50%. I'm below 50% because I'm giving them the grace
Gator man.
of playing in their own stadium.
That Gator man.
Okay?
Nothing gets by, BJ.
You know what? Come on, next
6
question.
seconds.
How much time
They
is
got
left?
10%. Last week they rushed for about 4.9 yards per carry.
Right.
Or that's what they gained a season ago. It was 4.1 last week, and sometimes during that game it was under 4.
Speaking of the Sooners, fact or fiction, Jalen Hurts.
I'm gonna give him a shot. 47%.
Kevin, you get to, that was really good. Jalen Hurts is the most exciting player in college football. Fact or fiction?
I think it's fact. I think when you combine this offense, Lincoln Riley's offense, with the likes of Jalen Hurts running it, we've seen 2 Heisman Trophy winners consecutive years, and Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. Why not make it 3 in a row with Jalen Hurts?
Love what the young man does. He runs effortlessly, and the story behind him, the backstory, everything he went through there at Alabama. Not that it was negative, it was good, winning national titles. But I'm going to say it's Rondale Moore. I'm going to say that's false. Rondale Moore, all-purpose, do it all, everything.
I'm going to say fact after the first week because over 300 yards passing, 176 yards rushing. Outstanding.
6
touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
3 rushing, 3 passing.
Coach CeeDee Lamb can take the top off.
CeeDee Lamb, he is really good. And the defense got better from OU.
Speaking of the Sooners again, who would you rather be? South Dakota, who has to try to slow down Hurts in Oklahoma this week, or New Mexico State, who's on the road against Alabama?
Well, my crack research staff, Mike Latito, so if this is wrong, it's on him. Listen, South Dakota State is.
This is
going
South
to
Dakota.
Oklahoma.
This is South Dakota.
I'm sorry. They're going to OU and they're getting about $5.75 for that trip. And this whipping they're going to take. New Mexico State's going to Tuscaloosa, 1.7. Give me that big old check. That's who I'd rather be.
Oh.
Especially I'm going to get beat down.
all about
That's
money.
real research. That's a businessman.
He's saying no matter what, they're both
yeah.
getting beat down.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go the other way because South Dakota, they're used to winning. And they may go in there thinking, we're going to get a check too. Maybe not big as that check, but we're going to win. And we're going to try to win and get to the fourth quarter and get on the bus and feel good.
Yep.
Oklahoma's going to beat you up, but they're going to beat you up taking these long shots at you. They're not going to scar you up and bruise you up like Bama's going to do. They're going to walk in there, and after everyone says that Bama can't run the ball anymore, watch them this week. Watch what they do and line up and hand that ball off. Downhill.
You hope they got enough left.
I want my money tonight.
And finally, our own Coach Nutt, best known for his successful days at Arkansas and Ole Miss. So who wins? You got to love this. Who wins the Houston Nut Bowl Saturday? The Razorbacks or the Rebels, PJ?
Big Sue. I mean, you got guys talking noise for Arkansas, a guy who just started one game, his first career start. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss. Their defense surprised me last week. They played better. So I'm going to go. I think they get the offense right. I'm going with Ole Miss.
Kevin?
I think that, look, Memphis is better at scoring and running the football than most people give them credit for. Ole Miss's defense is going to come through. Arkansas is going to struggle on offense.
Arkansas, they're 1-0, but they don't feel good about the Portland State win. They got to improve, but they are 1-0, guys, and they're going to Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss is not feeling good after Memphis. This is a big game for both. I say Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas's won 4 out of the last 5,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Low-scoring affair, right, Coach?
Yes.
First one to 21.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
It's about the money.
Oh, man.
All they want is the honey. All they want is the money.
You know South Dakota's mascot?
So Jack
Rabbits.
That's South Dakota State.
Oh, what is it?
South Dakota's the Coyotes, or the Coyotes, depending on what.
Well, which
part of the
one
country.
is it? Plural or not?
Trevor Lawrence, kind of a quiet opener last week against Georgia Tech. Only completed 13 of his 23 passes. He'll need to be better this week against Kellen Mond and his Aggies. Mond had himself a nice opener against Texas State, completing 70% of his passes with 4 total touchdowns and 1 interception. But this is the Clemson defense, albeit not exactly the one that helped the Tigers win a national title last season. So, guys, 2 questions. First up, would an upset in Death Valley put the Aggies in the very early playoff conversation?
Yes, and why wouldn't it? You go on the road and you beat the program, which is the defending champion, and that's a huge signature win. And, yes, that puts them in the driver's seat going through conference play. So, yes, sir. How many times you want me to say yes and yes?
Pretty much hammers it home. Kevin?
It puts them in the discussion, definitely puts them at the forefront and puts the attention on them, which might make their road a little harder actually to get there. But when I look at their schedule, Auburn.
It's already hard.
Alabama. I mean, you're running the gauntlet of the SEC West anyway. So, you know, your last 2 games of the season, man, you know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So, yes, it puts them in a discussion, but they've got a lot of work to do if they're going to get there.
This would be a big, big win. You know how he's recruiting. Coach Fisher's doing a good job recruiting those classes. But this win, and remember now how hard they played last year and were close.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see.
On the flip side, how much would a loss hurt the Tigers' hopes of repeating as national champs?
Well, it would hurt, but I still think this. If you're going to lose early, as we talk about, and now go finish out. They got to finish out and win their conference, and I think they'll still be okay.
Kevin?
It just hurts the perception of who they are. It doesn't hurt their chances going down the stretch. If they win out in the ACC and win the ACC championship, they're in. Plain and simple. Look at their schedule. It's favorable for them. They have good games at home and games that you want on the road for them. NC State, at North Carolina, those are games that you don't mind going on the road to do, but still, it just hurts the perception of their chances.
And we are keenly aware that they're rebuilding on that defensive side of the ball. 3 out of the 4 starters from last year returned to the secondary, but up front, they're rebuilding that front 4 and the linebacker. So we're aware of that. So if they have a misstep, as Coach said, it's better to have that early in the year, and let's see what they're working with later on. Now, are they boat racing their opponents from here on out? If they were to lose to Texas A&M.
All right, who wins the game, Coach?
I think it's going to be close, going to be very good, but I think Clemson's going to win at home.
Kevin?
I have to give the edge to Clemson because of the quarterback matchup. When you have two good defenses and both teams loaded with all the talent that both these teams have, I think it comes down to quarterback play and who makes the least amount of mistakes. I think that Kellen Mond is progressing rapidly, exponentially, game by game under Jimbo Fisher. I think we're going to see an offensive display from them that's going to be just unseen of coming into this season. But got to go with Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry. He's just too good. He processes too well.
But to your point, Kellen Mond, I think you're going to see him use his legs a lot more than he did a season ago, especially in mall games of this magnitude and when he gets into the meat of that SEC schedule. Texas A&M defense, they made noise last year. Number 2 rush defense in the SEC, and big old Bobby Brown. He has to be the opposite of that favorite artist of yours, Bobby Brown. You know, had that hit, Don't Be Cruel. He's got to be cruel. And he got to be cruel for 3.5 hours. They got to stop the run and make Trevor Lawrence beat them. But I think Clemson wins.
Quickly back to tonight.
Don't be cruel, baby.
Number 24, Boise State hosts Marshall. Thoughts on the Broncos in this matchup, Kevin?
The Broncos should have the utmost amount of confidence going into this one. They beat a physically superior FSU team, uninspired FSU team, call it what you want, but they went in and made it happen. They showed that they can go slay the giant. Don't see them having any trouble tonight.
Big win, quick turnaround now. Big win, forget about all the pats on the back. Got to go play. I think Brian Harsin will have them ready.
I don't believe Marshall will be an easy win, Cletus,
Right.
okay? And they won 9 games a year ago, about 14, 15 returning starters this season. Look out. But I think Brian Harsin, you're right. He'll have them focused, but you cannot take Marshall lightly.
Yeah, they beat VMI 56-17.